Thanks for staying with us. I'm Greg Gutfeld in for Bill O'Reilly. And in the Unresolved Problems segment tonight, I love these titles: Bridgegate, Benghazi, and Bias. The mainstream media is doing backflips over New Jersey Governor Chris Christie's bridge traffic scandal. So imagine my surprise when I heard NBC News guy Tom Brokaw say this.
I do think across the country, however, when they're looking at long-term unemployment and they're looking at the uncertainty of the Obamacare, they're saying, got to move on, guys. You know, you can only close those lanes for so long if you're in the national media. I do wonder if this had happened in Nevada, whether it would have gotten much attention.
Wow, where are my heart medications? But as The Factor has reported, the mainstream media is giving President Obama a pass on Benghazi. Senator John McCain, surprise, he's fed up.
You also mentioned the New York Times. You called them a surrogate for the Obama administration. Now there's this back and forth. Are you accusing the paper of defending them on Benghazi?
Of course, and not only that, I'm accusing them of being the mouthpiece for the Hillary Clinton for President campaign. No one could look at that article with objectivity and say that it's anything but a profound apology and distortion of facts on behalf of the administration and the Secretary of State.
Joining me now from D.C., Howard Kurtz, the host of Media Buzz, a great show which airs at 11 a.m. Sundays on FNC. I watch it every Sunday in my shorty robe. Howard, what is your take on the media's rabid embrace of the Christie scandal as opposed to scandals like Benghazi? Are you surprised by this?
Well, that Tom Brokaw soundbite, does he ever watch MSNBC? It's turned into the Trenton Bureau.
Yeah.
I think that it does it day after day after day, and I think every single Democrat in the New Jersey legislature has probably been interviewed on MSNBC. Look, Greg, I think the Bridgegate story is a legitimate story. It's a juicy story. It's got all these Jersey characters.
Yes.
But the media have now, we're in the second week now, pounded this into the pavement even when there's no new developments. Now, in Benghazi, which made a little bit of a comeback this week, which we'll talk about in a moment, it's been going on, the investigation has been going on for 16 months. It's complicated. A lot of people think it's been politicized. So it lacks the simple storyline of, is Chris Christie a bully or is he just a loudmouth?
Yeah, I love it how the left say, oh my gosh, a story has been politicized. They politicize burps. They politicize everything they do in life. You know, the thing that drives me a little crazy is when people, including my friends, they mock coverage of Benghazi as over the top and blinkered on our, like say on our network. Could you imagine them saying that if a tragic act like that occurred under President Bush?
Well, look, the Benghazi story, the fatal attack, the death of the 4 Americans there, very serious story that we still haven't gotten to the bottom of. But the problem is, particularly as a television story, that it's murky. There are these conflicting accounts. I agree. I don't agree with Senator McCain in saying the New York Times was doing this for Hillary Clinton. Her name wasn't even mentioned in that 7,000-word piece. But the recent report by the Senate Intelligence Committee finding that the attack could have been prevented, and this is a bipartisan report, and that's important, and also that those who were participated in this attack did have terrorist ties, despite what the Times says, pretty much undermined the New York Times report, in my view.
Yeah. But my theory about the Hillary thing is that because Hillary was spurned by the Democratic Party and by the media for the prom king, President Obama, that this, in a way, is their Whitman sampler. It's like this is their box of candy by kind of giving her a pass on this scandal. Is that a valid theory, or am I nuts?
Well, I would never venture to say that you're clinically insane, but
I would.
You know, it is hard. I mean, look, the buck stops at the top, so whatever went wrong in Benghazi, and a lot went wrong, and the compound was left dangerously undefended. It is President Obama's responsibility, and it is Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's responsibility. But Hillary Clinton, by the way, on the cover of Time magazine this week, there's a big high heel shown there, because the media are so much more interested in 2016. Here's the tie between Hillary and Christie. We're so much more interested in speculating about whether they will run, what kind of candidates it will be. Will the bridge thing kill Christie? Will Benghazi undermine Hillary Clinton? That it's easier and more fun, frankly, to cover that than to deal with the very serious business of Benghazi or the abuse of power that Christie's aides at least showed in deliberately creating that traffic nightmare and laughing about it.
So in a weird way, the way you explain it, it is almost like choosing sides. If you're on one side, to you, Benghazi is being ignored. If you're on the other side, you believe that Bridgegate hasn't been covered enough. And that's how it's going to play out up until the election when, if these are presumably our candidates, which I don't think we can say that yet, that's how it will be. These will be the footballs that will be used.
Right. I have no idea who the candidates are going to be. And I don't think Benghazi has been ignored. I mean, it certainly has been a lot of newspaper coverage, and less so on television. But it is true. A lot of people see the media, Greg, through a partisan lens. So if you're a Democrat, you love the idea of Chris Christie getting roughed up. You say that story's overcovered, and you make the opposite conclusion on something that hurts President Obama.
Yeah, I just think in this, it's more than just a balance thing. The media cannot bear to be mean to Obama. They're like parents in the stand at Little League. They just want him to do well. They want him to get a hit.
They got pretty tough on Obamacare once it became a fiasco.
Yeah, they had to, because what could you do? All right, Howard, thanks a lot.